by means of consent over conquest. And it was during this period that top Nazis, such as Nazi economics minister Walter Funk, wrote about the necessity to create, quote, a Central European Union and, quote, a European economic area. That's what Funk called for in his book, The European Community. As well as him, his co-authors, Nazi academic Heinrich Hunker, wrote in the same book, quote, classic national economy is dead. Community of fate, which is the European economy, fate and extent of European cooperation depends on a new unity economic plan. Also, fellow Nazi Gustav Koenig wrote, quote, we have a real European community task before us. I am convinced that this community effort will last beyond the end of the war. And that's why they always say that the European Union, the engine of it's Germany, because the German taxpayers pay for it all. It's because you've got Crump Industries and all of these guys who are right up there on par with the Rothschilds and others in the power structure. They literally suck all the money out of the German people to buy off the rest of Europe for themselves. It's just an economic domination. Right. And then following the release of this book, Minister of Propaganda Joseph Goebbels ordered the creation of, quote, large-scale economic unification of Europe, believing that, quote, in 50 years' time, people would no longer think in terms of countries. This was in 1940, and in 1993, just 53 years later, the European Union in its current form was born. So, and Paul, that's why they're an irresistible force until you consciously realize what they're doing, because they move like a glacier. I mean, it's just that irresistible force. I'm going to twist you. I'm going to take my time butchering you real good. And the general public's thinking on a day-to-day, and the global masterminds, they're thinking on 50-year models. Go ahead. Right. It's a long-term agenda. Other top Nazis who also called for the creation of pan-European federal economic superstate were Ribbentrop, Quisling, and Seyss-Inquart, who he spoke for, quote, the new Europe of solidarity and cooperation among all its people will find rapidly increasing prosperity once national economic boundaries are removed. And that could have been taken straight out of a CFR meeting or a Trilateral Commission meeting or whatever. So you've got all these top Nazis in the early 40s saying we need a pan-European economic empire and we need to do it by consent rather than conquest. And then we'll get onto the new documents which only solidify that this was taking place after the break. Yeah, it's no doubt. The entire European Union to be the center of the new world government, as Gordon Brown has said, is to carry out Nazi policies of mass death. It's hard to believe that reality is what it is, but that doesn't change the facts. We are in a scientific dictatorship, and they are now moving to shut down free speech and resisting them verbally and physically. While they built the overall structure and bankrupted the societies to make us independent, to make those of us